Hey beautiful, welcome to my channel, welcome back to my channel. If you've been here before, you know what we are about. No kinks, no curls, no coils are gonna be left behind this hair growth ting. Literally, who do I think I am? Okay, it's your girl Curly Proverbs, also known as Farida. That's the name that my mother gave me, and we are going to be taking all of your hair growth related questions. I'm going to be spilling the literal tea on your dilemmas to do with hair growth, the most commonly asked questions that I have in this area. But before I get into today's video, I need to give a massive thank you and shout out to my collaborators in this video, Bell Bar Organic. We've actually collaborated to bring you a couple of things. One, a hair growth challenge which starts on the 18th of January, so if you're not signed up for that, what are you waiting for? Also two, we have actually curated and put together an Ayurvedic natural hair growth course that you guys can purchase if you actually prefer to have something in print. We got downloadable PDFs, we got all kinds of printables, we have got tips for high porosity, low porosity hair, we have got regimen as well included in all of that, and it's emailed over 60 days, so it's like bite-sized pieces that you can ingest, you know. And also we have paired that up with the long hair don't care bundle, which has got your hibiscus hair mask, your fenugreek hair mask, or henna hair mask. You've got your green tea rinse, you've got your onion and garlic oil, thickening Ayurvedic oil, you have got your black soap cleanser, you have got your hibiscus restorative mask, you have got your argan butter. I mean, we did really take it there. So if you're interested, I'm going to have all of that linked down below. It's massively discounted at the moment, but let's get into the content you came here for. Okay, so by far my most asked question is, Curly, listen girl, I am deep conditioning, but I am not seeing length retention or growth in my hair. It has stayed the same length for like 15 years, for like all my life. I just don't seem to be able to progress past collarbone length or shoulder length hair. Don't worry, I have some suggestions of things that you can try. In case you didn't know, I was that girl who deep conditioned every Saturday night, but my hair was stuck at collarbone length. So I've actually been there, and I'm just going to give you some tips of things to help. One of the main reasons why you might be experiencing that stagnant hair, like as in your hair is staying just right here or touching on your shoulders, is the friction of your hair with your clothing. Now, especially if your clothing is made of cotton, it really dries out your hair. So that's why we always say sleep with a satin hair scarf, sleep with a silk bonnet or a silk pillowcase, because your hair essentially won't have any way of holding onto the moisture that you've put on it or applied to it in the deep conditioner. If it's in contact with cotton, it's going to pull it away. And not only that, the friction with that actually causes your hair to weather and break. So that's the first thing. You really need to think about having your hair in protective styles 99.9% of the time if you're serious about hair growth. I'm not necessarily talking about wigs, I'm not necessarily even talking about braids, although braids and twists can be fantastic for minimizing your handling or manipulation of the hair. But I would definitely say some kind of style where your hair and ends are tucked away and not coming into contact with clothing. If you're at home, girl, there is no reason for you to be wearing your hair in a wash and go state like this. If you are serious about growing hair, your hair needs to be off your clothes. That's the first thing. Second thing is, are you good with your multivits and minerals? Is your diet good? Because your hair only grows and your nails only grow when everything else in your body is taken care of. So if you're nutritionally deficient, then your body is still grappling with what it needs for your body to function. It's not even thinking about your hair growth. And the higher you can get your nutrient content, the better your hair growth is going to be. That's the second thing. Please start with a fresh cut when you are starting your hair journey. Not only does it give you like a blunt place to actually start where you're measuring your hair so that you can actually see progress and be encouraged by it, it also gives you a chance to get rid of the split ends and just have a fresh start. Also, your manipulation of your hair should be minimal, and when you manipulate, it must be gentle, particularly when your hair is extremely dry or saturated and completely wet. Your hair is most fragile at those points, and you need to literally treat it like a baby, like silk. Be gentle, don't be tugging. You know them videos of and them memes of those mums sitting down with their kids getting a cane roll, they're pulling at their hair. Bang! You tender-headed girl, keep your head still. None of that. The other thing I would say is look into taking MSM to get over your stagnant hair growth situation, because it could be, again, that you just need a bit of a boost in your nutrition. Okay, so another question that I get a whole lot because of the age group and demographic of my audience is, what should I do about postpartum shedding? My postpartum shedding is extreme. It is crazy. I've lost so much of my hair. My hair is thinned out after having baby. What can I actually do? Now, I'm going to say that first off, this is actually a very common issue to have because it does affect at least 50% of women after they've given birth. Because what happens is during pregnancy, your hormone levels change, and what they actually do is keep your hair from going into the shedding phase. So where you would normally shed 100 hairs a day, you almost eradicate that whole process because your hormones have changed, so you're not shedding. So then what happens is once you've had the baby, what goes up must come down, right? So all those hairs that you've been holding on to that you should have been losing 100 strands a day, they literally start coming out, and sometimes in clumps, and it can cause a little bit of a panic, but just be assured that it does affect most women, okay? The thing is that other things can actually exasperate what would be a normal amount of postpartum shedding. For example, if you are stressed out, being a new mom, sometimes it can be very stressful, being sleep deprived, your hair's falling out, it makes you more stressed. It's a horrible vicious cycle. So that can actually make your hair shedding worse. The other thing that can happen is that because you are breastfeeding, you're giving your nutrients to your baby, what happens is your body during pregnancy and postpartum when you're feeding will take what is needed from your actual body if you're not taking it in through your nutrition. That means you end up depleted, that means you end up deficient. I mean, during pregnancy, your body will literally break down itself in order to give nutrients to your baby if needed. Like, that's why women sometimes lose their teeth, because their calcium levels of intake are not sufficient. So the body's just like, we're just gonna break down your source of calcium and give it to the baby. So you need to make sure that your nutrition is on point. I know for a fact when I had Jaya, I was juicing so much. I was making so many more smoothies than when I had my second, Javir. And my postpartum shedding was night and day, completely different. I never had the trauma to the same degree at all when I had my daughter versus my son. So nutrition is really, really important. Make sure you got your multivitamins and minerals, really essential. Make sure that you are hydrated, and make sure that you are minimizing stress as much as possible, taking support that you can with your childcare from your partner, from your mom, whoever it is. Make sure you're having some time for yourself, because, and I know it's easier said than done, but stress will make your hair loss worse. When it comes to the nutrition that you really need to be making sure is elevated, it is agreed by experts across the world that making sure that your vitamin B complex is on point, your iron, your vitamin E, your vitamin C, and your folic acid, all of those are really, really important to keep topped up during breastfeeding and postpartum generally, in order to minimize the effect of shedding your hair. The other thing that I would recommend is that you add essential oils such as peppermint, such as lavender to your shampoo. They're invigorating, they stimulate the scalp, they increase vasodilation, or like the blood flow to your hair follicles, therefore delivering more nutrients, therefore keeping them from becoming dormant and losing hair during the shedding process. So you might want to consider adding something like shikakai, aretha, peppermint, lavender, any of those into your shampoos as you're massaging them into your scalp. It also prevents your hair and your scalp being overly stripped at the roots. So that is really, really a very, very big tip that I would share. The other thing I would say is that for me, the thing that really worked was using onion juice and rice water. Now, unfortunately, onion juice was really not sustainable. It stunk. Let's be fair, okay? And when I washed it, it didn't matter if I washed it 5 times, the smell would still be there. I'm really, really grateful actually that the Bell Bar Organic crew have put together an onion and garlic oil that also contains amla, loads of other amazing ingredients. I'm just going to have them listed on the screen here to save time, but that actually has garlic and onion particles in there, which will of course minimize the shedding of hair and thicken what you've got remaining, because it's rich in sulfur, it's rich in loads of good stuff, okay? So that's going to really, really help. The other thing that really helped me was rice water. Again, it's labor intensive and not very sustainable. You've got to kind of prepare way in advance. Bell Bar Organic actually also carry a rice mask, ingredients again on the front of the screen, and that is bomb for all of the benefits that you would get from rice water, but you've actually got it like in a mask that you can mix up at your convenience. So if you're experiencing postpartum shedding, definitely look into that. Okay, so male and female pattern balding and thinning of hair. I get questions about this all the time, and a lot of the time people are really quite desperate. They're at the end of their tether. Nobody wants to lose their hair, like honestly, like nobody wants to be going through that. And sometimes it can come on really quickly for some people, and sometimes it can come on quite young. And I also feel like with what you expect in society, when a woman starts to experience balding, I feel like it's even more like, you know, like it's just not expected that a woman will go through it, and I feel like they have more to deal with than if a guy was losing his hair. But both can have the same treatment. So I looked up and researched what were the causes of balding, and it could be a range of different things. It could be that you're going through some kind of chemotherapy, radiotherapy treatments, like so you're reacting to medication. It could be hormonal. It could be stress levels. It could also be that you've lost weight quite drastically. Maybe your caloric intake and your nutrient intake has gone down drastically, and your body is just freaking out a little bit, and so the first thing that gets dropped is always your hair, because it's trying to hold on to nutrients for what is essential, as I said before. There are a few things that you can do. Now, I looked up on the NHS website what they would recommend. They actually recommend something that comes up in journal after journal after journal when you're looking at hair loss, and it does work, but it does not work for everybody. Minoxidil is something that you can get to help you with your hair loss. Now, it does not work for everyone, but for the people that get results, you know, it does work really, really well. But the thing you need to bear in mind is that it only works for as long as you continue to take it. So when you stop taking it, the effects, they kind of reverse. And also minoxidil treatments can be so expensive, especially if you're having to use it like indefinitely. It can be very, very expensive. So I would recommend that you need to use something that has amla in it, that has been proven, tested against minoxidil. I have seen journals that have shown that it has the same or better results in mice and in women for reversing the thinning and balding of hair. So it's natural, and when you stop using amla, in most cases you don't see like a regression in the properties and the benefits that you had whilst you were using it. And it's so cheap. You can get like a bag of amla for like $3-4 from your Indian food store or from Amazon. The other thing that I would suggest is using castor oil to thicken your hair, to regrow it if you're losing it. It has been shown time and time again, if you just look up results of castor oil, like regrowing hair, for thickening hair, results are absolutely amazing on that. I love the fact that Bell Bar Organic have actually got the onion and garlic oil, which has got castor oil in it, it's got amla, it's got all of these bomb ingredients that I'm just gonna have right here. And each of those has been tested and tried for thickening hair and regrowing hair. The other thing I would say is that you cannot underestimate the importance of treating it as soon as possible. Like as soon as you start to have the issue, you need to start treatment as soon as possible. The other thing is, you cannot underestimate the effect of having too much stress. Stress actually decreases the quality of your hair follicles and decreases the number of active hair follicles that you can have in your head. It's like crazy the physiological effect that stress can have. So get you into some meditation. There's an app called Headspace that you can use. There's so many apps that you can use where you just actually use meditation, mindfulness, relaxation. Get running, get fit, exercise, get that circulation going. All of these things added together have a synergistic effect on your hair growth and regrowth and can make a massive difference. Manage stress, topical application, get fit, get nutrition. Okay, so I often get questions from people who have lost their hair because of tight braiding and weaves, and essentially they're like, how do I regrow my edges after damaging it because of weaves? So let me talk to you about what that is. First of all, hair loss due to weaves and braids and tension in the hair, that's actually called traction alopecia. So the cause of it is actually mechanical as opposed to being a hormonal, as opposed to being physiological stress and things like that. So it's actually pulling on the hair that's causing it. So the first thing you need to do is you need to stop that, okay? Now the people that could be more susceptible to this, actually you might be interesting to note that it is the most common cause of hair loss and alopecia in African American women, period. Like that is the reason for most women having problems with their edges. I'm just gonna put up some pictures now so you can see. It can be really nasty. I've known people who've had it. It affects self-esteem. It can be really difficult to cope with. Sikh men can be susceptible to it also. If you've always got your hair up in your turban, your hair is pulled really tightly, it's gonna break because of tension and you're gonna have unnecessary thinning of your hair. It also affects female ballerinas who've also got their hair always tied up. One thing I will say, just generally speaking, if you're not suffering with alopecia but you want to prevent it happening, is definitely when you are styling your hair, you're going in on them protective styles, girl. Don't make it always be a bun and cheese in the same position. Don't be always pulling your hair back in this position. Put it up here, put it down here, tuck it in. Like put an Alice band, just tuck it into the Alice band. Don't make it always a tension, pulling, kind of ponytail situation in the same position every time. You will get breakage, not only where the hairband is, but also at the roots. So be really careful of that. Avoid the traction. Girl, say no to the weaves. Step away from the weave, okay? Now, weaves are not actually bad in and of themselves. I am not anti-weave at all. Don't get it twisted, okay? But if you're about to go get a weave and then you're gonna go to a practitioner who doesn't really care about how tight they braid your hair, they wanna get all your baby hairs into that braid. They wanna braid it so tight, you can't even put your head on the pillow at night. You literally can see your scalp swelling. Girl, run. Literally run, okay? If you are going to a practitioner and then afterwards you're like, girl, it's too expensive, I don't want to go and get my hair done quite yet, I'm gonna grow it out. You sit there steady growing that hair out. It's been 2 months, it's been 3 months, that weave's still in your hair. That's also going to cause breakage. That's also going to cause alopecia, traction alopecia as well. So stay away from that. Get you an Ayurvedic oil if you need to infuse it. Of course, you could pick up the garlic and onion oil from Belbar Organic. Or if you wanted to do your own DIY, grab you some castor oil, pop in some peppermint, pop in some lavender, pop in some rosemary essential oil. I would also recommend that you infuse it with something like fenugreek and amla so that you really get some goodness into that oil. Make sure you are doing gentle massages. Also make sure you are up on your vitamins and minerals. And I would also recommend using a tea rinse, because what a tea rinse does is it preserves the follicles that you you have that are active, and it allows the nutrition to re-stimulate and reinvigorate dormant hair follicles. I get asked all the time, how can I thicken up my hair? My hair is thinning. Again, it comes up, particularly women who are going through the menopause. They say to me, girl, I touch my hair, it's breaking, it's falling out at the roots, I'm shedding, my skin has changed, my nails have changed. Don't worry, there are some things that you can actually do to help. So if your hair is thinning particularly for hormonal reasons, I would strongly recommend that you look into taking some hormone balancers. So things like maca are good for balancing hormones. Things like primrose oil are also great for balancing hormones. So women are living longer. Yes, thank God for that. The planet is in a better place because of it, let's be honest. But because we're living longer, a lot of women are literally spending a third of their life in a state of estrogen deprivation. And estrogen controls a hell of a lot. I mean, you know, when you are pregnant, your hair thickens because of changes in your estrogen levels. I mean, it is powerful stuff, and it does have a massive role to play in our beauty. So your skin, your hair, your nails, and your bones being more fragile, all of that is affected because of it. And you can have some success in treating this kind of hair loss and thickening your hair if you go for hormone replacement therapy, but that is really, really controversial. It is said to have links to things like breast and ovarian cancer. It is definitely a hot potato. Like, the information on it is conflicting, there's conflicts of interest, but most women don't really want to mess with their hormones because of that. So I would highly recommend the green tea from Bell Bar Organic, or just if you want to do a DIY, get you a green tea. I love the fact that the Bell Bar Organic tea rinse actually has several different complementary herbs that play a very, very important role if you are experiencing hormonal hair loss, amongst other things, of course. I particularly love red clove. In fact, today I was reading an article, it's a journal, that was looking at the fact that people who were taking red clove, who were menopausal, were actually seeing an improvement in their skin, in their bones, in their nails, in their hydration, in so many different things. I'm literally going to list them on here because I cannot remember them all, but there was a significant improvement in all these things, and libido as well. All of these things improved because they were taking red clove internally. So look into taking maca, red clove internally, but of course this particular tea has it so you can apply it topically. So it's great to have it internally, but if you can have it concentrated in the area where the issue is, it doubles up the potency. So the red clove in this, along with the other ingredients that you've got in the tea, really do help if you've got an excess of shedding and thinning, particularly if it's to do with hormones. Now I would go about applying an oil that has amla in it, such as, you know, you can get like loads of different amla oils from like Amazon or whatever not. Obviously Bell Bar Organic's onion and garlic oil has got amla in it, amongst other things as well, to help with the thickening of the hair. It's got the castor oil that's going to help to really thicken up your hair. So you need to go in with topical application. So it could be, you put your tea in, spray, get it in the roots, spray it right the way to your ends, then go in with your oil, massage it in, and you can boost any oil you decide to go with a little bit of peppermint and a little bit of lavender. Okay loves, so I hope you have enjoyed this video. I have really tried to take it there with the detail. There are some questions that you guys asked that I have not answered on here just for the sake of the length of the video, and I'm going to be answering them over on the natural hair email course that I've got with Bell Bar Organic, and it's going to be just emailed over the days of the hair growth challenge that we've got starting on the 18th of January. So there's going to be more detail, there's going to be more information on that course. This is definitely a more concise and shortened version. The version that's going to be on the course is going to be more detailed, is going to be longer, and is going to have more questions answered as well. So if you're interested, and if you live abroad, and you know, because Bell Bar don't actually ship outside of the US, if you live abroad and you really want to get into this whole hair growth challenge, you can just get the email regimen. You can actually purchase the regimen and the natural hair course that we've got going, which is going to have additional information if that makes sense, with my waffly self. But in any case, if you've loved this video, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit this video with a thumbs up, comment below which of these things have you tried that's actually worked for you. Also, if you head over to my Instagram, I am going to be, over the course of the next week, next couple of weeks, and certainly during the time of the hair growth challenge, I'm going to be showing you what I'm doing as I'm doing it on different days, like as a part of my routine, when I'm deep conditioning, when I'm exfoliating, when I'm using my fenugreek, when I'm using my henna, etc, etc. So I will see you over there. Yeah, stay well.